So I've heard a lot of people say recently that they're concerned that their resume isn't being seen by a human, that it's being filtered out by AI. While some organizations and individuals are using AI to filter resumes, most of the time it's just an ATS, an applicant tracking system. These have been used for a long time. We're just in a more difficult market right now. Now, they're not all created equal. They don't all, search through the content of resumes in the same way. They're not all configured the same way. Not everyone who's using them is using them to look for the same information. But usually they're going to look at the job description. The ATS is going to take the job description and the resume and see how well they match up based on keywords, but also whoever's using the ATS may be filtering for a certain amount of time spent at each job, trying to filter out job hoppers. They may be looking at the last couple job titles. They may be looking for soft skills, different things like that. So your mileage may vary, especially if you have a recruiter who's working with a particular hiring manager, or you have a referral who's worked with the hiring manager. Generally follow their advice, because not everyone's looking for the exact same thing. But running your resume through an applicant tracking system against a certain job description that you're applying for can give you a pretty decent idea of if your resume has any chance of being seen at all. So there are a couple that are available online. One is SkillSyncer, which I believe they give a free year to veterans and students with an EDU email address. There's also jobscan.co, which has a free tier, and you can run a few scans a month, I believe. I'll include the links in the description, as well as anything I might forget while covering this. But anyway, I have some general takeaways that I think will apply in most situations, things that I was doing wrong and reasons why before I wasn't getting interviews and now I am. I should add this disclaimer. This is about trying to get your resume seen by a human. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get a job. I don't have a job. I'm still searching right now, but at least I'm getting interviews. This is also not just for tech people. This is kind of tech tailored, the information I'm giving, because that's what I do, but this is mostly general information. So one of the issues I had is my date formats used to instead of a dash. I would have like January 2022 to June 2024, and I would use the word to spelled out instead of a dash, and some ATS systems weren't picking up on that. Sometimes if you're using tables or fancy formatting, certain ATS systems might not be able to filter out that information. So they might not be getting your email address, your GitHub account, your city, your name, things like that, if you're using special formatting. So generally keep it simple, because even if some applicant tracking systems are able to get that information, you want to make sure that the majority of them can, even ones that you don't have access to run your resume against yourself. So keep it simple. Some hiring managers filter out people who aren't local to the city that the job is in. So I recommend, under your name, your contact information, put your city. If you're in a small city that's near a larger city, maybe put small city / big city, so that you're giving yourself as much opportunity as possible. If the job is in a different city, especially in a different state, and you're willing to relocate, I would work that into the resume in some place. Like here in this resume, I'll have something like a unique value proposition generally, or like an objective statement, just a few sentences about like my experience, years of experience working with what technologies, what I'm working on now, and then maybe add like you're looking forward to an opportunity to work in wonderful whatever city and state. So maybe don't use that exact verbiage, but that's the idea. It's just make sure that it's in there so that you have a better chance of being seen by a person, of making it through the ATS filters. Because regardless of if the grammar's the best or the resume looks the best or you said it in the best way possible, if no one's going to see it, then it doesn't really matter in the first place. So anyway, resume length is not as important as it used to be. If you want to keep the resume that you're actually handing out to people in person down to a page or two, that might make sense. But if it's going through an applicant tracking system, it's mostly being filtered by computers anyway, so it's not as big of a deal. Some people will still throw out resumes if they're like 4 pages or longer, but again, do what you have to do to get your resume seen in the first place. Be careful about using language that is too concise. If you're a software developer, if you're doing a web application developer in particular, you might use terms like full stack. You might have experience as a full stack developer, but you might be applying to a position that's for back-end development. If they don't see back-end development and that's what they're looking for, they might pass on your resume entirely, because even though you have full stack experience, you didn't say back-end. They're filtering for back-end. So like specify the front-end technologies you use, specify the back-end technologies that you used so that those keywords are in there and you're really covering all of your experience. Similarly, companies may use different terms for the same technology. So they might use something like React.js instead of React. Make sure you're using whatever term that they use in the job description. Some technologies and protocols might be obvious prerequisites to being able to do the job, to doing jobs that you've already had. But if they're specified in the job description, they're probably filtering for it. So even if you have a CISP or an OSCP certification, if the job description says you need to have a strong understanding of TCP, UDP, DNS, you need to mention those protocols in your resume. You have to specify whatever technologies are listed in the job description, even if you think they're obvious. If you're a software developer, if they talk about using Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code in the job description, include it. It doesn't matter if you have over 5 years of experience as a .NET developer, and generally you're going to be using Visual Studio. If it's in the job description, there's a good chance they're filtering for it, so you need to make sure that it's on your resume so that someone will see it in the first place. You can't leave anything to be assumed, because the computer that's filtering your resume isn't going to be making assumptions. Depending on who's filtering the resume, some might be filtering on soft skills, some might not be. I've heard some recruiters saying that they don't, because anyone can say that they have all these great soft skills, they're great communicators, they're great at writing and communicating in general, but that should be seen in the resume and in the interview. Some really want to see it, so you should include it or not. Kind of depends on the hiring manager. So I ran my resume against one job description. That job description used the word passion a lot, so the ATS picked up on that. So I made sure to use the word passion in my unique value proposition, saying I'm passionate about things that pertain to the job. For some reason, working with the technology for 10 years doesn't qualify as passion. Sometimes you have to state it specifically. Always have a GitHub if you're working in software or even security. If you're doing security, you can still put some mind maps on GitHub. You can do some automation projects. Having a little bit of code while you're trying to get into security can definitely set you apart. I know this from talking to hiring managers firsthand. Having specific metrics is not as important as your resume being seen in the first place. So don't worry so much about if you don't have specific measurements to talk about how what you bring to the table benefits the business. If you're not applying to a leadership role, a decision maker position, in my experience, and it does depend on the hiring manager, but in my experience, it's generally not a deal breaker. Also, not directly pertaining to resumes, but some hiring managers look at LinkedIn and not resumes. So if the bullets for what you did on the job are not on your LinkedIn, then they basically don't exist. At the same time, some hiring managers will look at your resume and look at your LinkedIn. If they don't match exactly, they'll claim that you're misrepresenting yourself. I actually had that happen. The resume I gave was very tailored to that particular position. None of the information on the resume was false. None of the information on my LinkedIn was false. The resume was just more focused on my responsibilities and tasks that I completed that were relevant to that specific position. And yet I was accused of misrepresenting myself. So take that into consideration when you're optimizing your LinkedIn profile. You may want a public profile. You may want to have certain information on there so that recruiters have a better chance of finding your profile when they're searching for certain skills. But it can also work against you if you're working with a diverse skill set, you're applying to different kinds of jobs, you're tailoring your resume to specific positions, which you should be doing. Just be aware it can be kind of a double-edged sword. I find that most recruiters are really just looking for your last couple job descriptions and your years of experience, and then technology. So as long as your skills section is complete and You have the right job titles and the right experience, a short about me section, a brief description or unique value proposition, who you are, what you bring to the table, maybe a good professional photo. Usually if you have those things in place in tech, you'll be all right. There are some places where they're going to want to see a more full profile. Just weigh out the pros and the cons with where you are in your career and the kinds of positions that you're applying to. LinkedIn is primarily a social media site as well. So recruiters searching LinkedIn are more likely to see your profile if you're a first, second, third connection. So maximize connections as you can. It is a social media website first. Anyway, I'm providing an example resume here. Don't copy this verbatim. This is only meant to give you an idea of the kind of content that you want to have on your resume and what simple formatting that will make it through most applicant tracking systems will look like. But here you can see I've included name, relevant certification, if you have one after your name, contact information. Notice I have small town California nearby, larger city California, software security engineer. Generally you're going to pick one, but this just for the sake of example. Number of years of experience in the field, years with that specific responsibility, passion for things that pertain to the job listing, currently doing whatever various activities contribute to the community, especially within your field, your discipline, and then looking forward to working in whatever city, state, just to get you a chance of being seen. Technical knowledge, it's okay to organize it and prioritize it, but the big thing is that you're just trying to hit on all the keywords. So list all those technologies, list the programs you work with, list the operating systems if they're mentioned in the job description. For your experience, use a dash with your dates, not the word to. Keep it simple. Notice I list, even though I'm a full stack developer, and it says that here, I list the front-end web technologies. I list the back-end technologies. If they're saying HTML5 or HTML, use whichever one they use, or just cover both. If they say CSS3, you're thinking it's all the same, write CSS3, not CSS. Just whatever they have in the job description, you want to have that. I've been programming since I was about 13, so I've studied a lot of things over the years. So software development, web development, cloud architecture, artificial intelligence and machine learning, WebAssembly, graphics, data forensics, reverse engineering, a lot of different things. So if there's anything you'd like to see videos on, leave it in the comments. Maybe if I know people are actually looking forward to some content, I'll be more likely to make a video. This video, many people had specifically asked me about this, so I went ahead and made a video just because I'm like, oh, okay, like this could help a lot of people. So hopefully it helps. So let me know in the comments if any of this information is helpful, if any of it is unhelpful, if you found anything else that works, if you preferred using different tools, it could definitely be helpful to others. All right, that's it. Later.